This high point was occupied by Mr. William Drummond, a Scotsman. It surprises me not that a sober Scot would find the finest piece of land on the island, the highest point, where he'd built a fine house. And apparently, that night of the 6th, he rode himself, and under the cover of darkness and secrecy, he had some sort of secret meeting with Mr. Drummond. I know not what was discussed, but that he was here. And apparently the intern on it, the next morning, he surrendered himself after several shots were fired at his sloop, just out here. He came peacefully, and the governor, apparently from his residence just there, he met and asked Mr. Bacon, "Have you forgotten to be a gentleman?" To which Nathaniel Bacon replied, "No, if it please your honor." And in turn, the governor granted him liberty to the town. Now that night, June 6th, I arrived and I heard all the hubbub. I arrived by vessel as most we do. The road's impassable certain times of the year, certain seasons. It's as far sweeter to carry yourself as we all do, by water. From my place on the Catterwomac down the Chesapeake and up the James to here. The next morning, we were called at our Capitol building there, our State House, to order. And the first order of business was to deal with the rebel. The governor called him forward after we were all assembled, the councillors with the governor in their appointed place, the burgesses in the larger spot, our place. The governor called him forward and asked him if he would apologize to the assembly for what he had done. And he agreed to it, which surprised all of us, for he had gone out directly against the governor's orders. The intern on it, the governor, near I will quote this, told him, "If you can remain civil until the next quarter court," mind you, our courts meet for felonies 4 times a year. But he repeated himself twice more. He said, "Until the next quarter court, if you can remain civil, you shall have your seat back on the council." We were much appalled by this and went on to conduct our business. A day later, I walked by the governor's chamber where he meets with the council, and much to my surprise, Nathaniel Bacon had found his seat, his councillor's seat. It struck us all very odd. And then it whispered to my ear that perhaps the governor, very wisely I think, very wisely, under good counsel, had thought to improve his own condition by having granted Mr. Bacon what he chiefest wanted, the governor's close ear. But the truth it were to enable him to keep an eye toward Nathaniel Bacon. And we thought all might then be turned to a better side. 3 days later, the 12th of June, a brute ran through our chamber announcing that Bacon has fled. Bacon has fled. That afternoon we heard that he had gone back upriver, feigning an illness of his wife, but in actuality, another day passed and we heard an army of perhaps 60 was amassing to march on Jamestown to right the wrong of the frontier by demanding from the governor a commission to legally fight the Indians, all of the Indians along the frontier, that we would be rid of them. A week passed, and it was no longer 60 that was aligned with Nathaniel Bacon. It became 100 and 120. And by week's end, near 600 men were reported to be with Bacon. On the 23rd of June, a great fleet, and I mean fleet, was espied making its way from just where you